Mike and I are back with another episode to talk about Joe Mazzulla's extension. The ownership group getting their deal finalized, and now be the new ownership group led by Bill Chisholm, the Georges Niang trade, the Chris Boucher signing, and the potential Anthony Simons move, and the look at the Celtics center situation, and even dabble a little bit into Jayson Tatum's injury recovery. We do all that in this Hard Foul edition. It's been a minute since we've spoken to you guys. Here we go.
You're listening to
They're going to call it a hard foul. They're going to call it a hard foul.
Mike, it's been a really long time. It's so long that your son's back in school, starting the first grade. You guys traveled around the East Coast, checking out all the nice museums, Cooperstown, going down to Gettysburg to celebrate the Confederacy and Robert E. Lee, going down to D.C. to celebrate the National Guard takeover of our nation's capital. So congratulations on those things.
Yes.
But we
the
are
death to democracy and the death to American history. Yes.
We are a Hard Foul, brought to you by the what?
Fan First Sports Network, bitch.
How did Tommy enjoy his trip to Cooperstown, in all seriousness, Gettysburg and D.C.? Tommy is Mikey's first, is it first and only? And went into the first grade. So how did he enjoy all those things? Yeah.
He had a good time. He was very well behaved too at some of those places with tougher kids. But we stopped over at Hershey Park, so he loved Hershey Park, place where parents have to deal with their child having tantrums every night at 9 p.m. because it's completely fucking meltdown after all the candy. Tommy didn't throw one tantrum the whole time.
Oh, that's awesome. I was just going to say, I don't think there's any good amusement park vacation. Like maybe when I did Disney with my kids when they were in high school, it was actually enjoyable. When they were little,
Hershey Park's way better.
Terrible experience. Is it way better?
They're on 600 pound. They're on 600-pound women with Mickey Mouse ears driving around on scooters at Hershey Park. It's cleaner. There's more food options other than like hot dogs and fried chicken.
Turkey legs.
The rides there, I was too scared to go on them. I got to be honest. But Tommy's too little, anyways. But the rides there, if you're a ride enthusiast, go to Hershey Park because they're insane. But yeah, he's well behaved and. Some Celtics news has dropped, I guess, Jim. Nothing really surprising and nothing really worth a note, but we got to cover it. Joe Mazzulla is the big one in my mind.
Yeah, I think that in the ownership, I think there are some significant things that have happened. I like your soccer uniform today. You look like a Russian KGB client. But
I hate soccer, and I got to say, through my job, soccer is like I spend so much time with
European
kids playing
kickball.
soccer.
European kickball. So let's start with Mazzulla. That happened a while ago. This is how long we haven't spoken for. He received that extension. I wrote about it a little bit. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are it speaks to the Celtics' consistency across the front office is something that they valued. For a long time, right? And so Brad Stevens was a coach for a long time. Doc Rivers was a coach for a long time. Danny Ainge was a GM for a long time, or president, whatever you want to call it. And now you see Brad Stevens really settling into that role. I would expect at some point he'll maybe he already did get extended. Austin Ainge left, but it's very seldom that you see people transition out unless they're transitioning off like other head coaches roles. So, Joe's coached well. I mean, he's got a ton of wins under his belt. This will probably be his hardest season as far as the expectations won't be as high, but trying to figure out ways to win will probably be a lot harder. So I'm sure he's excited. He's very competitive. And I think the biggest thing with Joe Mazzulla is seems like he's Jayson Tatum's guy. And so that matters, right? I think it's a good thing he was extended.
Yeah, I think he seems to have a good rapport with everyone on the team, and certainly Jayson Tatum's guy. He's definitely earned an extension, no matter what people think about him. He won a title. That gets you extension. You have 2 straight 60-win seasons. He's earned that, and I do think you're probably right that this is going to be a trying year. And also, it's a good opportunity for him to kind of try some things with not a stacked roster and really test things out within his own coaching philosophy. I mean, you almost feel wedded to things when your roster's that good. Like, you don't want to tinker too much because you don't want to be the coach that screws it up either. I think when you might be able to learn more about yourself and, your philosophy with a team that looks like this. And, you have new owners, and this will be a good segue, but the owner seems to be a fan of the team. Um, I do think that's genuine. I think he has history of being a fan of the team. I believe it. Um, and sometimes you have owners that are fans, especially early on. I mean, Robert Kraft's a great example of this with Parcells, right? Where you tend to maybe meddle a little bit too much. And right now, this ownership group is saying all the right things about Mazzulla and saying all the right things about Brad Stevens. But if this season goes the way we expect, and it's a struggle, and I don't really think it would matter if it's Joe Mazzulla coaching this team or Phil Jackson at his prime. I think this season will be a struggle for whomever is the coach. And so you'd hate to see a new owner come in and make a judgment that's rash
Yeah.
because they're a fan and then fire him when it wouldn't be deserved.
And one last thing on Joe before we talk about ownership. I think he's always been a defensive minded as well as an offensive minded head coach. And you've seen the team be top five defensively every season. He coached them pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. That's really going to be tested now. And he's going to have to make a lot of adjustments. And I think it could be a really trying, frustrating season for him because he really doesn't have the talent on the defensive end to make stops. And that's where the Celtics are probably going to struggle the most. I think he's going to find ways because he's good offensively. They're very analytically driven, where they're going to find ways to still score a lot of points. But I think this might be one of the worst defensive Celtics teams we've seen since, I don't know, when Brad maybe first came on to the scene. They're going to be really, really bad defensively. And I do think that may be one of his bigger challenges. And to your point on ownership, yeah, I'm glad that they're fans. And they spent now more than $6.1 billion. I think it was even more, right? To
Yeah.
get this team. So my hope is that they want to invest the money and resources that it's going to take to win, and we're not really going to know that until next season. So it's kind of like a wait and see. We really don't have the answers for anything. I know you wrote on it, so you can speak on it, but kind of just gotta wait and see how they react to the losing, or maybe this team will surprise them. But I think they're going to be pretty bad. But yeah, I don't know how much we're really going to know about where their head is at as far as making money and spending on the team until next season.
Yeah, no, and I'm happy to announce that I am writing for the Fan First Sports Network as well, who was sponsored by. I think we said that at the top of the show, but yeah, no, and I did write on this topic, and to the point you allude to, we don't really know. And the three questions I kind of threw out there were, if Tatum didn't get hurt, what would have been the approach to this offseason? Would have been the same? Would it still looking to cut spending? What does it mean going forward? And were these all just purely financially driven moves, which I think we do know, but it isn't something that ownership, any question that ownership has answered. So this time will tell, I guess. The more I thought about it, Mike, when I wrote it, and that's why I added in the article, we've treated this as a foregone conclusion that they had to move Porzingis and Holiday. And I agree that they probably should have because of the basketball penalties that accompany you being over the second apron. But there's also, an argument to be made that if you only traded one or you kept them both, that you'd be well positioned in the East this year.
Oh yeah,
And then what happened? So we're throwing away contention because of mostly tax penalties, not, the basketball penalties, I think, are secondary in this.
They're definitely second.
Yeah. And they haven't, those questions haven't been directed to the new ownership group now. Maybe they couldn't speak on it beforehand, but they didn't really speak on it when it was announced that the sale has gone through. They haven't spoken on it since. The big news out of the sale, honest, and I get it, but it's Wick Grossbeck is an alternate governor, whatever the fuck that means. He's still part of the
Means
ownership.
nothing.
Yeah,
He'll be phased out.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so that's
I know
really
Dan
it.
Greenberg is all like, "Oh, Wick's still here, thank God." It's like, come on, man, he's Mark Cuban.
Yeah,
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 come on. Let's live
yeah,
in reality, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And this season's about shedding salary. That's what it's about. And you already see it now with
Well,
the
he's a little
Simmons
more
ring.
than Mark Cuban because he still has a ownership stake. So he still has a financial stake in it. It's just he's not the majority on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So like I said, it's kind of like a wait and see. You see that the team. There's been rumors out there. Again, I think you wrote about this as well. Trying to move Simmons or is it
Simons.
Simmons or
Simons.
Simons? Yeah, trying to move
Anthony
Simons.
Simons, yeah.
Trying to move Anthony Simons. I don't know how the teams that they were rumored to be trying to deal with didn't make, like, Philadelphia just doesn't make sense at all because Philly has really good guard play if they're healthy. Like they
And the
probably have the
contracts are
rookie.
all top heavy, so it makes it really
Yeah,
hard. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean they probably had the rookie of the year last year if he didn't get hurt. So I just don't know. I don't know how that trade would happen. You look at Denver. Certainly, he's a fit there. They don't have a lot of scoring coming off the bench. The only way I
They're a
could
second apron team, and you would have to trade like Gordon for Simons, which they would never do, or
they would never do that.
no, no.
Maybe there's a third team involved. I'm not sure.
I don't
How it
think
all works.
you can't do a third team. I don't think under these circumstances. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
with
get
Denver, I mean.
I don't get trading him at this point unless they're trying to shed more salary, which to me that seems like what they're trying to do. I think they want to bring less salary back and move him out. I don't really see the point in trading him. I mean, you had to give up Drew Holiday and like get no second round picks back. So I don't know how much value this kid even has, Jim, if he has
Yeah,
any.
I mean,
But to
you
me, it
never.
makes more sense. Like if he has no value, do what you should have done with Christoph Porzingis and wait till the trade deadline.
Yeah, it's.
Let's let's make a basketball move. Let's make one basketball move. A
I mean,
move that's for the team, not for salary purposes.
well, and my I don't know if you read the article, but my last trade was what I thought was a basketball move, and you would have to give up. It would be an overpay, but I think it'd be potentially worth an overpay for. I think I said a 2027 first round pick, a protected 2031 first round pick, and Simons for Nick Claxton over in
Yeah, I
Brooklyn.
wouldn't do that trade.
You
I don't
wouldn't?
want a guy who can't hit free throws. I'm good. He offers you nothing on offense.
He's been better. And I think what he does for you that I think this team desperately, I think there's a huge hole at the center position, not just for this season, but going forward. There is no long term plan and nothing on the horizon. And I think they're going to have to come to a crossroads at some point on how they're going to address this. Maybe they think Kate is the answer. I don't. And I think you're eventually going to have to pay a little bit more than you want to. What reason I really
I
like
mean,
Claxton.
trading all that for Nick Claxton when you could have just paid Cornette would like piss me off because Cornette's better.
I don't think Cornette's better.
I think Claxton's good defensively, but he's an absolute zero on offense.
No,
Like
he's not.
he might put up numbers in the regular season, but you get in the playoff series, you're gonna have to do what the Knicks did with Mitchell Robinson and sit him because he can't hit free throws, and they're gonna do hack a Claxton. I hate guys like that. I hate them. You want two-way players in the NBA. You do not want a guy who only gives you. He's like the Maurice Thybulle of centers.
He's a vertical threat that. So I'm just looking at his. Yeah, so he's shooting a little over 50% from the free throw line, which isn't great. I get that. But what he is and what he has been and what has really excelled under the Celtic systems are guys that are vertical threats. And he would be that instantly. Like you look at how guys like Rob Williams and Luke Cornett have performed with Jayson Tatum, and Jaylen Brown to a lesser extent. They have really, played at a high level of basketball. And I think Nick Claxton, for all of his flaws, is more talented than Luke Cornett. He has shown a lot of promise. Last year he had a down year. Maybe I'm giving up too much pick wise, but I think you have to eventually address the center position. And when you look at players that have fit well, particularly with Jayson Tatum, he really fits that mold very, very well. Do I got to be worried about come a playoff series, him going to the line? Yeah, sure.
You saw it against the Celtics.
Do I need to
did.
be more concerned about just having a guy like that? I think that's a bigger concern because they don't have anyone at this position right now. And he's still young. And he really hasn't played with talent since Durant and Kyrie have left. He's been surrounded by scrubs. And so this would be a chance to, there was a reason the Nets didn't want to include him in the deal where they sent out Jared Allen. He's a good player and a great defensive player.
But I don't think that suggests he's better than Jared Allen.
No,
Jared Allen's better than
I think at the time they thought the upside, but it was close.
Yeah.
When they made that move, that was close. The way Claxton was playing with Kyrie and Durant, and like I said, he has not played like Allen's played with since he's gone to Cleveland. He's played with great players. Claxton hasn't done that at all.
Yeah,
he certainly.
I would rather
see
the Celtics. I would rather see the Celtics if they're going to trade for Nick Claxton. I don't think you got to give up. I wouldn't give up 2 first-round picks for him. I would rather see them. Maybe that's a position they should identify in next year's draft, or stay patient with it. I'm not a big Nick Claxton guy.
Would you trade Simons for him with 1 first-round pick? Simons isn't part of their long-term plan. He's gone after the season.
No, I know that. Simons would be the salary to make it work. I think you'd have to consider that. Yeah, but 2 first-round picks seems like a lot.
Yeah,
especially when you don't have many picks.
But are you working?
All you have is your first-round picks, and you don't really have many second-round picks. And the way they are acting this offseason, they're acting like they're trying to be fiscally responsible as they rebuild this team, which would mean drafting your talent, not trading it away to get back into the second apron or whatever that, or to stay close to the second apron.
His salary's less than Simons, so like it wouldn't get you to that level. The way I look at it is, so they can be fiscally responsible. They can try to build the draft. I feel that to be very, very risky when you have a guy like Tatum and Brown. I prefer to let's go for it. Let's get players in here that we know fit their style of play and can work with them. I mean, if you can throw a defensive nucleus, and maybe it's not Claxton, but if your defensive nucleus is Brown, Tatum, White, and Nick Claxton, that's already one of the best defensive 4 in the league. Tomorrow, it would be.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think if they trade Simon, it's probably more likely a salary dump. It's probably more likely you're getting a guy like Terrence Mann, and Simon's just going into Nets cap space, which is, would be disappointing, to say the least. Disappointing, to say the least.
Yeah. Speaking of salary dumps, the Celtics dumped Georges Niang into Utah, along with some second-round picks that I don't even know why Utah needs them at this point. But yeah, Utah got some more picks. Yeah, for a guy who won't play. So clearly a salary dump. I don't see the point of talking about this too much other than this just goes to where this team is at right now. I mean, they don't have a lot at the power forward position. They traded away a power forward and attached picks to it to sign the 8th or 9th guy from Toronto's bench last year for a little bit less money than what Niang makes. So those are the kind of moves the Celtics make now.
Yeah, so
Chris
right now,
Boucher is the Celtics.
So right now, and I put this in the piece about ownership. You've given up Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, and a second round pick. It's your net loss of 1 second round pick for Anthony Simons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a great, and this undrafted
and Reggie
free
Lewis
agent, Reggie Lewis. And by the way, like,
will even make the team. I doubt it.
I hate the fact that his name's Reggie Lewis, by the way. Like, that, he
Well, it's
can't pick
name.
his name.
He
I
can't pick his
understand
name.
that. He
So
can't pick his name.
we
But
can get
maybe
him on the show and ask him to change it.
We should. Yeah.
For like Mark Blunt.
Yeah, and they
He's
pick
going to
up.
be as useful. He's going to be as useful as Mark Blunt.
Do you think Chris Boucher is better than Georges Niang?
I don't think there's a huge difference. I think Chris Boucher may be more athletic. I mean, he's one of those guys who always play great against the Celtics, but he's really not that good. I mean, he's not.
He's fine.
Excited. He's fine. Right?
He's fine. Yeah. He's fine.
He's never been. I'm going to see Xavier Tillman and him at the 4 next year. Those are our power forwards. So I would probably start Tillman.
Tillman has more starting experience than Boucher, and has had more success.
I would try to see if Tillman can get back to what he was 2 years ago. That's probably your best hope because Chris Boucher, like I said, whatever. He's on the team. Great.
So I'm currently writing about the Celtics bigs, and so I guess we'll end the pod with kind of asking you this, Mike. I know you got to go.
I'm excited about Queta.
Well, that's it. Who has the biggest sailing? Who has the highest sailing, you think? And who do you think will be the most reliable?
It's hard to answer that question because I don't know anything about Gaza. And obviously it's going to be him and Queta at the center. The other kid's on the two-way, so we'll hardly see him. Unless he like blows guys away in training camp or whatever, and they say, we'll give you a real contract. But
all right, let's just stick with Queta. What do you think Queta's ceiling is? Is he a starter, or do you think he's a good role player? Like, what's the best Neemias Queta can be in this league?
I think his ceiling is like a really good, dependable backup big. Somebody who could be your number 2 center, right? Like that's, we hope we get to the end of this season.
You're in agreement with me that they don't have.
But I also think that like when I say that, if a center got hurt, he's that type of reliable center that you would go into it saying, you know what, we're going to be all right. Like he can start for us and it's not going to kill us too much. I think he has that kind of upside. So maybe he could have a really good season this year with this opportunity.
And do you think Tillman could be a guy that bounces back at all? Or do you think his career is toast? I know there's, was a really nice article about him, about how he lost his father and then was coming off knee injury in the offseason. And maybe
I'm a hopeful guy, Jim. I mean, for him to have his career at the bound, I mean, he was never that great to begin with. He was a solid defensively.
Really good defensively.
Better than low average 3-point shooter could hit one, right? And can rebound well because he's got good shape to him. I got hope for him. I would say this: the Celtics are very. I feel like they need him. Like they need him pretty bad to play big minutes next year and to score 5 points a game and get 7 or 8 rebounds. Like they need him on the floor playing really good defense because Cade is going to need that support big time.
Yeah,
I think they need Tillman to be able to play 25 minutes a night.
I was listening to Scal on a podcast and he was making reference of how he feels like Cade is going to have a really big season. I respect his basketball acumen, Scal's, but I got to be honest, Mike. I don't think they have a starting center on the roster.
They don't.
There's nothing in the pipeline either, which is more concerning.
Yeah, when I think Queta really big season, I think the guy played 70 games. The guy gave you 28, 27 minutes a night. He scored 8 or 9 points. He hustled on the boards and he just brought it. Yeah. He brought his energy because we cannot expect him to be anything other than that, I don't think. Just a guy who's and we also have to be ready for a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes he's going to make, especially on the defensive end at the beginning of the season.
Well, that's it. Indiana figured it out early in the year and tacked him with the dribble, and he just didn't get back on the floor. And he needs to get out of screens faster. There's a lot he needs to do better. I think what we're going to find out is with time if he's got it capable or not, which he may be.
So we're going to
but
find
we'll
out.
Find out. Yep.
All
right,
that's the Celtics kryptonite. I mean, the Celtics have good scorers in their starting five with Brown, Pritchard, and White, who are going to be reliable.
And Simons, if he's on the team, is a great scorer. Yeah.
Yeah. But they don't have anything coming from their forwards or their centers.
Nothing.
They have nothing. Absolutely nothing. And quite honestly, I'm not huge on Shireman. This kid they drafted in the first round is really, really young. They're thin. They have Sam Hauser coming off the bench right now, in my mind, and that's it. So we'll see what pans out, but they're thin. They're not a good basketball team.
No, they're not. They're not. Unfortunately, right now. Mike, anything you want to close with?
Yeah, man. Tatum looks like he's doing better. He changed up his hairstyle.
Do you have 2 minutes for me to ask a question of you about him? I know you got to run. Do you have 2 quick minutes?
Yeah.
So it looks like he may be ahead of schedule. I don't know if he's doing basketball activities or not. Jayson Tatum comes to you, you're Brad Stevens and Joe Mazzulla in middle of March and says, I've been cleared. I want to play.
He's playing. My thing with Jayson Tatum is he's like built differently than other athletes. I've really come around on this. If he tells me he's ready to play, I'm playing him. He seems like the type of athlete who's going to bounce back differently from this injury than others. I think he's got that it factor to him, and I have a feeling Jayson Tatum's going to surprise a lot of people. So that's where I'm at. If he wants to play, he's playing.
Do you think Jayson Tatum's the type of guy that could accept ramping up, coming playing 10 minutes, 20 minutes? Maybe not being the man, initially, all those things.
Yeah, I think he's very mature. I do. And I think he can. I think he's going to do what's best for him. And what's best for him is going to be probably doing something like that.
Yeah, I think I mean, if he told you he wanted to play as your superstar, you have to let him play. The latter point, even if he says he thinks he can do it, I don't know if he'd be able to do it when he's on the floor. And that would be the part that would mostly concern me about him returning from injury.
Yeah, I get the concerns. I just, I'm like, I don't know, Jim. He's like, I don't know. He kind of reminds me of like that Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes kind of player, kind of athlete, Kobe Bryant. I just have a feeling that he's going to bounce back, and it might be sooner than we all think. And like, he could come back in a big way this season and surprise all of us.
All right, we're going to close up. I have homework assignment for Mike and anyone else that's listening. I want you to go back, take a look at Celtics rosters for as far as you want to go, and find me one to start the season, one front court that is worse than the front court the Celtics are starting with this season.
Oh, I can easily. Brad Stevens' first year here.
With Chris Humphries, who else did they have there?
They had that guy from like Germany. He got like 20 rebounds in a game.
Eden? Is that what his name was?
So I'm like, no. Semi Arden got traded. Semi Arden was compared to Bill Russell by Tommy Heinsohn. No, I forget the guy's name, but yeah, that front line was horrible.
Oh, you got to come back you got to go look at the whole front line.
They have like, what was that kid's name? He played at North Carolina. His brother was also in the league. Kid. They got him from the Cleveland Cavs. He was center Brad's first year.
I was initially thinking, Tyler
Zeller. Yeah, that front line was horrible.
That front line was pretty bad. You might be right.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about the year before Patino came, where they tanked, but they had Dino Raja that fell out of bed. It would get you 20-12 or 20-8.
Yeah, they started some. They started like Eric Riley at center. They had some guys.
They like some guy that was like 700 pounds. Yeah. But there isn't many, so that's a homework assignment. Find starting.
Do you know that he didn't know he got cut? he showed up to training camp the next season and Patino had already cut him?
Raja?
No, Eric Riley. There's an article about him.
Well, Raja's worse. So Dina Raja came in and said, "Hey, I want to be here, but if you're gonna trade me to a contender." Like,
and they traded him to like.
Patino said, "No, we love you. You're here. You know, you're part of our plans."
Yeah.
Then within 6 hours, they traded him to the 76ers, who were like putrid at the time. So Raja, he smoked his 20 cigs, walked in and told Patino he's retiring and going back to Europe. Oh God.
Should have never traded him. Should have never traded him.
No, he's a good player. Really
they should have kept him around. All right. Yeah. Good pod, Jim.
See you later. Bye.
See ya.